Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is Carlos, and today we're looking at this awesome summer-inspired Certina Action Diver chronograph, which in my opinion might be one of the coolest watches of 2024. So this watch right here is the Certina Action Diver Chronograph. This is a watch that came out on June of 2024, and this particular colorway is really meant to sort of celebrate the fantasy of vacationing on the summer months. So for those of you that might not know, Certina is a Swiss watch brand that's been around for over 100 years. It is part of the Swatch Group conglomerate, and one of the places where this brand absolutely stands out is in the fact that it's probably the only Swiss made brand that offers ISO certified divers that are automatic watches that come in right under $1,000. So if you're the type of collector that loves divers and you're looking for a Swiss diver that doesn't break the bank, that still sports an automatic mechanical movement, then Certina is a brand that you're going to want to know about. So before I start this review, I do want to point out that the nice folks over at Certina were cool enough to send me this watch for review. I do not get to keep this watch. This watch will be going back to Certina as soon as the review is done. Certina has absolutely no say in the making of this review, and what you will be hearing from me will pretty much be my unfiltered opinions about this particular watch. Okay, so with all of that out of the way, let's get into the fit and finish, starting with the case. The case is a pretty standard case for the Action Diver line from Certina. It is a very tool-oriented case with pretty much nothing but brushing all over. This is a watch that is very angular and very masculine. It has absolutely no bevels, no polishing on it. It is pretty much 100% tool watch case. This is a pretty beefy case because it features a 7 series value caliber, so it is a lot thicker than your usual Action Diver case, but needless to say, this thing is built like a tank. The case has very robust crown guards that actually do a really good job at protecting the beautifully polished and signed screw down crown. And then of course we have the beautiful screw down pushers that operate the chronograph feature. And one of my favorite things about the pushers is this really nice detail where the very base of the pushers has been covered with what I think is PVD coating to give the watch just a very nice and very classic, just a little bit of a gold accent to make the watch just a little bit more fun. From the case, we move on to the dial, and the dial is pretty much the star of the show on this watch. This is where we see Certina fully flexing their creative muscle, and this is where we get to see them really exploring that idea of celebrating the fantasy of vacationing on the summer months. The dial is this very beautiful sand colored dial with just a little bit of texture and color spackles to really sell the fantasy that this dial is made up of the sand that you would find in your favorite beach. As it's customary on the dials from the DS Action Diver line from Certina, the dial also features beautifully crafted overlaid markers, very reminiscent of Rolex markers. These markers have a beautiful gold finish on them to really sort of go along with the motif of the sand and complement the color of the dial. Right underneath the 12 o'clock marker, we find the actual Certina branding. Right above the 6 o'clock marker, we see the beautiful date integration, which is very nice, being that it's right on that 6 o'clock area. The entire bi-compact setup of the dial retains beautiful symmetry. Right above the date marker, we see the DS Action Diver driving, as well as that Divers 300 marker that lets us know that this is a proper 6425 ISO certified diver. The subdials for the chronograph function are also absolutely beautiful, starting with this very nice gold trimming that matches the overlaid markers, beautiful indented radial finish for the surfaces of the dials themselves, and a beautiful black accent on the train track for the running seconds and the running minutes for the chronograph function. I really love the fact that this dial has a ton of texture, a ton of color variation, but the sub-dials still manage to have that beautiful radial finish that is just so traditional with chronographs. The hands on the dial are also really beautifully done. We have these really nice rounded sword and arrow style hands for the hours and the minutes. We have beautiful arrow, harpoon style hands for the running seconds and for the running minutes feature of the chronograph, with the running seconds actually having just a touch of loom so that the watch can still qualify for ISO certification. However, my favorite hand has to absolutely be the chronograph hand. This particular hand, in my opinion, looks like a lethal weapon. It literally feels like I could pick this up and not just go on vacation, but maybe murder a shark while I'm on vacation. Please do not try to murder any sharks with your watch. I beg you. Sharks don't deserve that. With that said though, seriously, like, I love the shape of the second hand. It looks absolutely stunning and it's just such a unique hand. I think it just looks absolutely great. The crystal on this particular watch is a pretty basic crystal. It is just a flat sapphire crystal. However, it is double coated with anti-reflective, which basically just means that you get absolutely no reflection on the glass and you just get to look at the awesome dial, and legibility is pretty amazing on this watch. Since this is a diver, of course, we have to have a timing bezel. And one of the things that's really nice about the timing bezel is that it is not just made of ceramic, but it also has these really nice sand color markings to pretty much tie in with the whole motif of the dial. Of course, we have to also point out the really nice peep at 12 o'clock that gives us tons of loom, giving this watch a pretty impressive overall presentation in the loom department. The bezel itself does have a little bit of play, but it's almost nothing, and I think that this is still well within the realms of respectability. With that said, let's go ahead and listen to our bezel action. Ooh, yeah. This particular watch does not feature a display case back, but it does have a very nice solid case back with the now classic turtle etched in the back of it. The turtle pretty much standing for Certina's commitment to the environment and the toughness of their watches. This particular reference of the watch did not ship with a bracelet. However, it does ship with this really nice color matching nylon strap. I really love this thing. One of the things that I really like about it is that it's not a true NATO. And the reason why I like that it's not a true NATO is because a true NATO would be either a single or double pass, and that would add fabric between the case and your wrist, and that would actually make the watch sit higher on your wrist, which can make things a little bit awkward, especially with a case that is as thick as this one. With that said, the nylon strap gives you all of the good looks and fun of the nylon without adding that awkward extra material between the case and your wrist, and without having your entire watch just sit higher on your wrist. The keeper on the strap itself is also very nicely finished with a combination of polishing and radial brushing, and with the Certina branding beautifully etched into the keeper itself. All right, so this is the part of the review where usually I would talk about the accuracy of the watch, and unfortunately I'm like halfway in the middle of moving from Texas to Portland, so most of my filming equipment and most of my watch equipment is actually no longer with me. It's actually made its way over to Portland, so that means that I was not able to run the usual 6-position time grapher test. However, I did run one of the most important tests that you can run in all of your watches, which is how well does it run on the wrist. So I wore this watch for 24 hours, and in the 24 hours straight that I wore it, I basically noticed that this watch gained 2 seconds in 24 hours. So as far as I'm concerned, this is gonna be a very accurate watch, and it's not very likely that unless something goes majorly wrong with the watch that I'm going to have to adjust it more than maybe a few times a month. And if you are the type of person that switches watches regularly, then this is probably not gonna be a problem for you. 2 seconds in 24 hours I think is pretty damn accurate, especially after running it on the wrist. Overall, I get the impression that this watch is super accurate. Okay, so now we're in the awkward part of the review, and that's where we talk about money. So this particular watch retails for about $1,800 US. It's actually $1,795. At the equivalent of $1,800, I'm pretty hard pressed to think of another watch that offers as much value as this one. Yes, there's value chronographs that are cheaper, but this is probably one of the few value chronographs that you're gonna find from a major Swiss brand that is an ISO certified diver. So that alone makes this watch pretty unique and very much unlike any of their other counterparts on the market. So I'm gonna actually go out of my way and say that $1,800 is actually a hell of a deal for this beautiful, properly ISO certified chronograph by Certina. All right, so let's wrap up this review by getting into likes and dislikes. The likes are very easy. Look, for me personally, I love the fact that this is a chronograph. I also love divers watches. I don't dive, Vive. I'm never going to need like true ISO rating, but there is something that is very nerdy about it that to me just adds to the fantasy of wearing the watch. A lot of times it's not what you are going to do with the watch, but how the watch makes you feel. So maybe the adventure on my head is just much bigger and much more exciting knowing that I have an ISO certified watch on my wrist. So I love that. I can't say that enough. And to be honest, I just love the whole vibe. I love watches like this that are thematic, that are inspired by something, that kind of tell a story. This is the type of watch that like I would definitely take on vacation, maybe go to Los Angeles, maybe go to San Diego, go to a resort, spend time with my family, jump in the pool with it. And yeah, this is a watch that I can definitely make it my summer vacation watch. And I love that. I feel like there's something where like you see the product and you immediately relate to it. And I love the aesthetic look. Like I think that this thing just looks fantastic. As I said, like I really love the details of gold on the pushers, and just the overall execution of this thing is just absolutely lovely. There's just, I don't know what else I can say other than this is a watch that really speaks to me. Like this is a watch that like honestly I kind of wish I could keep it. So as far as the dislikes are not going to be traditional dislikes because I love this watch, but I do think that if you are looking to purchase this watch, or this is a watch that you're looking into getting, there are some things that you need to look out for. So first is this is a 45mm case. Now I love wearing big watches. I love wearing small watches. However, I'm a big dude. I'm 6'3", I have 7.5-inch wrists. So keep that in consideration as you look at this watch. I would say if you can get to an AD, or if you can try a similar chronograph from another maker, maybe if you can find like one of those Mito Ocean Star chronographs, which are pretty much the same case size, try that on to get an idea of how the size of the case is gonna fit on your wrist. So the other thing that I would mention is if you feel like the case size is right for your wrist, then just know that this is a pretty thick case. This is one of the thicker chronographs, and with that thickness comes a good amount of weight. And being that it doesn't have a metal bracelet to counteract the weight of the case itself, this watch can feel a little heavier than usual. If you're wondering, is this watch for you? The big thing that I would say is, do you like the way it looks? If so, then this watch is probably for you. Second deciding factor is, do you feel comfortable with the size of the case? If those things are yes and yes, then I think that you can't go wrong with this watch. This is an absolutely awesome watch. All right, folks, well, that's pretty much it for today. This has been the Certina DS Action Diver Chronograph Summer Sun Edition. Beautiful vacationing watch. Please let me know on the comments what you guys think of this watch. If you guys have a watch that you absolutely love that is your dedicated summer/vacation watch, please let me know what watch that is. If you guys know of another Swiss-made ISO certified diver's chronograph that's under $1,800, please also let me know about that in the comments. I learned so much from you guys in the comments, and honestly, going through the comments and answering and getting those conversations going with you is one of my favorite parts of running this YouTube channel. With all of that said, if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I definitely hope to see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. See ya.